Ndị be anyị ekene m unu ọzọ n'ụbọchị nke taa. A sịkwa nke onye chiri ya zelu. A sị na ya dịrị niile na mma ka a na-abụ ndị na-ekwu okwu gbasara maka nnwere onwe nke ndị Igbo and ka o esi dịrị ndị Igbo na mma and Maazị Nnamdi Kanu ka o esi wepụta na mkpọrọ. A sịkwa na unu ga-adị ka echi na echi ada agwụ agwụ. Onye aka kwuru onye akọ ya dịrịrị ise ise ise. Alright, dịka o si dị na anyị eje gbapụ na ọsọ igosi na ife anyị ji maka ya wee bịa nnukwu ife o buru ibu rinne mana anyị ga na-ewere na ya n'usoro. Just ife ya agba mbọ bụ stay tuned at Eastern News 24. Ị ga na-eweta information ọbụla ị na-ejiri. Alright, unu na anyị n'ihu akwụkwọ a kịta onye na-afụ n'ihu akwụkwọ a bụ Eze Chika Anayo. Ọ bụ former commissioner for information in Abia State. Okay, with also one night wokekwe bụ Charles bụ Secretary General of Ohaneze Ndị Igbo Worldwide, Ifa International Media. In response of one extradition of Mazi Simon Ekpa to Nigeria by Senate and also Mazi Nnamdi Kanu'S ladies and sit at home. Gent of form na ya bụ ife ka ị na-efefa were ihu. You know their response. Then you get a big ya drop your own comment on the comment section below. Alright, over to you, sir.
In honor of those unjustly killed for not adhering to the sit-at-home order by Simon Ekpa and his gang. Omo Bazwai, Arise News.
Well, for more on this, I'm joined in the studio by Eze Chika Anayo, who is a constitutional lawyer and a former commissioner for information and strategy in Abia State. Also, Professor Charles Nwakeku, who is the secretary of the Igbo Elders Consultative Forum. Gentlemen, good to see you. Not too good a story we're getting from Nigeria Southeast, so we've had this conversation. Perhaps let's start by speaking to Eze. You've seen some of your colleagues and friends in the National Assembly asking for a solution. First, give us a sense of what exactly is happening in Nigeria's southeast. You're from Abia State. How is it going with the people in terms of sit-at-home and the resurgence of these gun-wielding men?
Sulaiman, thank you. And the truth quickly is that these are very delicate times to have, not just in the southeast, but in Nigeria. And this time is a time for statesmanship, not a time for legalism. Because I observed the motions in the Senate and I saw how some of the people say because of our rules, we were not going to go in line with political solution. And as somebody who has studied widely, issues of terrorism and issues of conflicts across the globe, and as a constitutional lawyer, I would say that there is no way anywhere in the world you will eventually arrive at a solution to any conflict without some form of political solution to it. Because at the end of the day, it will be on the table. And secondly, before now, Abia State, where I come from, has been an oasis of peace and security in the southeast. The last diaspora meeting held in Abia State, Nigerian Union of Journalists conference held in Abia State 2 years ago, and for 8 years, check your records, under Governor Kizibas, there was no single incident of either IPOB or unrest in the southeast. So you have to look at what was it that Abia, under Governor Okezibas, did well.
I think every Nigerian is looking for a solution. I'll come back to you on that. Certainly, we'll have to look at what recipe you had, to the extent that people had a fantastic one for 8 years. Professor Nwakeku, one of the few things people have been asking is the solutions that the Igbo Elders Forum have, because I'll come back to the political aspect with Chika Anayo, but what are the elders doing to ensure that everyone can go about their business?
Well, I want to thank you, and by extension, I want to thank the Rise Management for giving us this wonderful opportunity. As a matter of fact, let me begin with the motion sponsored by some senators from Southeast.
Yeah.
Okay, first, I want to commend them, at least for them to come off for once to say, look, let Nnamdi Kanu be released. But I want to say this, they should go beyond that, because I'm not a lawyer, but I know that motion has no force of law. Although the senators rejected it, I wanted to hear what they suggested as an alternative, and I am disappointed that the senators could do summon courage to avert the presidency to release Mr. Nnamdi Kanu. As a matter of fact, yes, as read here, you know, first Nnamdi Kanu was charged before an Abuja Federal High Court, Abuja, presided over by Justice Bintanyako, and then the court discharged him of 8 of the 15 charges, and then he appealed. At the appeal court, unanimously, 3 judges, they discharged him of the remaining 7 charges, and as a matter that he should be released. And instead of releasing Nnamdi Kanu, federal government appealed. But you also remember that in this country, when ASU, federal government went to court against ASU, it went to National Industrial Court. National Industrial Court said that ASU should first, observe this thing. Federal government insisted that ASU should first obey the court order before appealing. And we are asking federal government, why in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, why have you failed to obey court order before appealing? And in any way, you say you've appealed to the Supreme Court, what are the charges against Nnamdi Kanu? What are the charges? And again, the federal government, you see that after delivering that unanimous judgment, within 48 hours, the 3 judges were transferred out of Abuja punitively. And we're asking, are we in democracy? And so when the senators rejected the motion, of course, some of them are lawyers, and they know that motion has no force of law. I had expected the senator to say, look, our colleagues from Southeast, you've demonstrated patriotism. We should go beyond motion and compel Mr. President to obey the law, but obey the court order. Federal government is supposed to obey the court order by releasing Nnamdi Kanu before appealing, as they insisted that ASU should do. I belong to ASU, and I know that federal government insisted that we should obey, and we obeyed. And so why hasn't federal government obeyed this? And in any way, what are the charges against Mr. Nnamdi Kanu at the Supreme Court? So government is violating laws with impunity. The rule of law doesn't seem to exist again in Nigeria. It's like we here is lawless state.
So is this the
elders approach?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Is this
Igbo elders? No. Igbo elders.
Your personal
Igbo,
to this.
Igbo, we've discussed this severally. We've reached out to the media. So I'm not saying that the Igbo elder didn't meet on it, but several Igbo elders have expressed this, led by our chairman, His Excellency Dr. Chukwemeke Zife, Chief Esen Okeke, and others, even the new President General of Ohanes and the Chief Emmanuel Iwanyanwu. We have maintained the same thing, release Mr. Nnamdi Kanu. He has not committed any offense.
That's on one hand, yes. But on the other hand, I'm coming to Chikam Nayon now. Yes. On the other hand, because we seem to have another problem, and it has to do with the sit-at-home.
Yes.
A part of Nigeria in crisis also mean that the entire country is in crisis, whether it's Southeast. If the Southeast economy is going down because of sit-at-home or some other crimes and criminality, then Nigerians should be worried. Let us in on what you say you did while in government, to the extent that, well, for 8 years, there was peace and calm in Abia State. Let's see the Abia example.
The Abia example is simple. You know, Governor Kezi Bazo at a point was unanimously given the award of the best governor in security in the Southeast. The entire diaspora.
By who?
By the Telegraph newspaper, an independent body. And Abike Dabere, the lady in charge of the diaspora, took the whole of Igbos from all over the world to Aba for a convention just last year, because that was the safest place anybody could go. Everybody from everywhere in the world came to Aba. What did Ibazo do right? You see, because you see, a governor is a prototype of a president. And you have to understand the microcosm before you can apply it on the macrocosm. First of all, you cannot fight insecurity without a buy-in of the citizens. You cannot legislate an end to the sit at home. You cannot use the gun and the bullet to stop sit at home. You have to talk to the mind of the people. There must be a meeting. You cannot at any time do anything about insecurity until there is a buy-in, until the citizens themselves take ownership of their own security, until there is that connect. As long as there is apathy, as long as the people do not believe in the people in government, as long as the senators come here in Abuja and blow their grammar and they could not go back to their villages, you have not solved the problem. So what is it that we can do to actually make sure that that detachment between the government and the governed is, that bridge is actually broken, so that people can come together? Because politicians must not come to a point where the people are afraid of them and people are more at home with non-state actors. What is it that we are doing wrong as a political class?
But that's what's happening now. People listen to
People
non-state actors.
tend to listen to I agree with you, 100%. People tend to listen to non-state actors. But in Abia, Governor Baz sat down with them and he discussed with them, especially the youth. The youth of Nigeria are angry, and they are justifiably angry. You have to create jobs, massive direct and indirect job creation must be done. Whether it is in the southeast, or in the southwest, or in the northeast, or in the northwest, the youth must be employed. The youth must know that this country represents hope and prospects. That's number one. Number two, you must make local governments to work. Local governments in Nigeria are frustrated. In Abia, where I come from today, there are no local government executives, either the transition committee or elected. Under Governor Bazu, we did local government election twice. Governor Bazu did that so that the young people going back to contest for councillor, going back to contest for chairman, going back to get involved, they feel a sense of belonging. So when you make
two key things here. Sorry to cut
yes,
you here.
I'm coming to the third one, because you see, if you don't employ the youths, if you don't make the local governments to work.
I'll let you go on the third one, but again, quickly here, two things here: job creation and local government administration. Are you saying after your governor left office, these people who were once employed or engaged suddenly lost their jobs?
In Abia, just as at yesterday, 7,000 people have been sacked by the new government. You see, if you look at what is happening in Abia and in Kano, where there is a hostile takeover of government in terms of one party taking over from another party, you see there is been government of vendetta, government of reversal of gains, government of trying to prove that, oh, because you did not exercise your democratic franchise in our favor.
7,000 people sacked.
7,000 people sacked. And local government workers, as we speak, for 2 months in Abia State, local government workers have not been paid. They are undergoing what is called re-verification. In this time, when there are no patrols, when transport has gone up, when people are going through perilous times, somebody sits on their location. By the way, Abia State has gotten about 45 billion.
Let's quickly take the third one so that
the third one is that, like I said, there must be massive employment. When we were there, the governor of Abia State created what we call the team as Transport Management Corporation of Abia State. We created the APSA, we created ASEPA, we created APUMA. All of these were deliberate, definite measures taken to engage, to bring in the youth.
Have they all seized?
And all of this have been dissolved. So when you see that, as at yesterday, I wish you can bring the video here, as at yesterday, 2 policemen were shot dead. Our brothers of the Nigerian police, accompanying a commissioner to Ariara Market, were shot dead. And there is riot at Umuahia North local government. There are riots all over the place because of what? Because when you do not ensure through succession, political or otherwise, that there is a continuity of the gains, not just for political expedience. When you try to run a government of vendetta, what you end up doing is you dissolve all the gains that have been done. And like I said, like my brother equally said, you must engage the people. You see, I want to appeal to the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let us not be legalistic about insecurity in Nigeria. Let me come in before you
expatiate on that.
Yes.
Yes. Professor Charles Nwankeko, yes. Quickly, I want you to expatiate on that because he's giving about 4 key things here, and this again speaks to how politicians can also contribute to peace, yes, or otherwise. In this case, he said it's, almost all the structures put in place to engage people have been stopped in Abia State. Now, how can politicians understand that there is, irrespective of the government in office, that the people are the paramount, essence, rather, the essence why you're in government?
Well, what my colleague said is news to me, so I don't have full details of that, but I want to believe that government is supposed to be a continuous process, okay? But at the same time, you know that the new administration you have there, they had their campaign, they had their manifesto. I wouldn't know the details of what have been done and so forth. Is it possible that they are reassessing the whole thing or not? I wouldn't want to talk about, but let me talk on the insecurity. Okay?
Please
now, you find out that generally, according to Karl Marx, conflicts in every society are caused by the struggle between 2 major classes over the control of material resources. They have and they have not. And you know that they have often less than 5% of the state. They control over 90% of the resources. And you keep on having that constant struggle. And so, as he rightly pointed out, you have insecurity throughout the country. But that of Southeast is an exceptional case because of massive deprivation over many years, marginalization, and complete exclusion of the people from governance. We are talking of a people. Southeast was part of Eastern region. Eastern region between 1960 and 1965 was rated by the World Bank as the fastest growing economy in the world. 9%. Fastest growing economy in the world. And the Southeast is the center of that Eastern region. And today, we are having sit at home, you're having everything. You come to the national here, you see that the people from the Southeast are marginalized. Our youths, our graduates are not recruited in the public service, despite the existence of federal character as contained in Section 14, subsection 3. Promotion, our people excluded. Security agencies, our people excluded. And people and the youths are not happy. They believe that we are not doing anything. And that's why our elders, you asked me before what we've been doing. We've been reaching out to them, pleading with them that we want peace, that they should give us time to talk with the federal government. We've been talking with the federal government, but it's like federal government doesn't want to listen. But that notwithstanding, we still appeal to our youth to exercise patience. We believe that perhaps the new administration may look into the case of Southeast. We are talking a place where...
Quickly here before we wrap up with Chikam Nayo, what are the demands?
First,
you spoke about Nnamdi Kanu release. Yes. Now you're talking about people being marginalized. You're talking about joblessness.
Yes.
What do they want?
The youth want to be included in whatever that is being done in Nigeria. Now, our youth, you say federal character, as contained in subsection 14, subsection 3, okay, say that every section of Nigeria should be accommodated in whatever government does in order to give that section a sense of belonging.
Let me bring in the lawyer here so that we can close. Sorry to cut you here.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Land on this.
So you find out that under that federal character, our people, they score very high in JAMB. They are not given enough admission. They perform well in civil service, job recruitment. They are not recruited because we want to reflect other places. But when it comes to politics, we exclude it. And so you see that the implementation of federal character is selective and at the detriment of people of Southeast. And the youths are crying.
Barrister Chikamnayo, a plethora of demands to the extent that it could get so foggy because you really can't. So in a minute, let us in
let
on.
me comment President
quickly.
Tinubu on one ground. He has brought in a very holistic approach. The Southeast is included, at least in the service chiefs that have been appointed. That's a kudo, and that's a positive sign that President Tinubu wants an all-inclusive situation. Southeast is now included, at least in the security apparatus of the country. Two, President Tinubu has also, an obligation, a responsibility to continue to go via the political solution, because you cannot be legalistic about peace. The Abia example, as initiated and implemented by Governor Kezi Bazo for 8 years, that the works should be implemented. One, massive employment. I heard when the labor chief was speaking, I need him to also say that we need massive employment. The youth of Nigeria need to have jobs, good paying jobs. We need local government administration. Security, every security problem is local. So you must have functional local governments for the grassroots to take ownership of their own security challenges. Three, there must be an engagement of the people, because you see, information hunting in Abia State, when we did our own Ebubagu, we did not come out with people with guns and boots. We engaged the hunters, the farmers, we gave them telephones. We made sure there was an engagement of the grassroots. Three, and most importantly, the security agencies must work in synergy. So you see, when you implement all of this, which is what the template that has worked in Abia State and made us the most peaceful state in Nigeria for 8 years, if we take it to the global arena, the Nigerian arena, and employ the youths, make the local governments work, engage the people, and let them take ownership of their own security, and ensure that the security agencies work in synergy, Nigeria will be good. But finally, before I go, let me make it very important, very open that, you see, just like my prof here said, government is a continuum. You see, whenever there is a change of government, whether it is by the same party or another party, there should be.
ndị be anyị daalụ nne nụ kunu si na-esoela anyị n'ife anyị na-eme n'ilu akwụkwọ. Ị na-anya na ị afụ ife ụmụnne anyị ịbụọ kwuru. One, Eze Kanayo kwuru bụ the former Minister of Information na Abia State. Akwa ị na-aghọta ụnụ anyị ị afụ ife kwugasị, and nwanne anyị nwoke bụ Charles bụ the Secretary General of Ọhaneze Ndị Igbo. Akwa na-aghọta ụnụ ya na-efu akwụgasị n'ilu akwụkwọ a. Then na-ajụ anyị bụ ka efu nwere ike ikwu gbasịta maka ya bụ ife fa akwụgasị ebe a rụtagasị aka gbasịta maka ife a ga-eme ka udo wee dị n'obodo anyị bụ South East. Gịnị ka ị nwere ike ikwu gbasịta maka ya? Drọpụkwala ya on the comment section below. Once again, echefukwala na ya bụ Eastern News 24, ebe a na-ewetara unu ozi nke dị oke mkpa gbasịta maka ife na-emenụ n'ala Igbo and Maazị Nnamdi Kanu'S release and the world. Daalụ ụmụnne m, ka emesịanụ.